All right, you're watching the Sports Roundup Show with Mike Nelson and Cody Parks. We're talking about the best in sports every Friday afternoon, and of course, we're going to start off today with the NBA. As we know, we're in the NBA Finals. Game 2 is tonight between the Heat and the Lakers, and the Lakers look pretty good in Game 1. I think a lot of people are not surprised by that, but I think Miami is really banged up going into Game 2.
Um, it seems like luck is on the Lakers side, Mike. Um, Denver series coming off when they won two back-to-back series, winning in 7 games. It seemed like Denver got banged up towards the end with Murray, and then this series, as you mentioned, they're banged up after 1 game with Adebayo, who's out tonight, and Goran Dragic, who hurt his foot. Adebayo was his shoulder, and the Lakers just, in my opinion, they were going to dominate anyway. But this is more reason to think. I was telling you this before we got on air. It might be a sweep, Mike. It might be a sweep.
Yeah, I think we might see a sweep. I think the Lakers are clearly favorites, right? We know that they were favorites going in to this finals series against Miami, and then now
Gotta
with the
go bet in
injuries,
Vegas, Mike. Gotta
what is it?
bet in
I didn't
Vegas
hear the
for that.
last part.
We got to bet in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, I know Vegas is open now, so we can go bet.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people didn't expect Miami to make the finals too. We got to remember that. I mean, Miami was a good team during the year, but I didn't think anybody saw this coming. Everybody was seeing Milwaukee or maybe even Philadelphia began the season.
Boston.
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 So those three teams were pretty competitive going into the beginning of the year, but it didn't happen. And the Lakers, of course they have the two best players in the league, probably LeBron and AD. And Miami just doesn't have an answer for both of them.
And Mike, to make it to this point, we're only 3 games away from a championship with bringing it back to LA. What would you say would be like one of the, in my opinion, one of the underrated reasons I would say, of course, we got because of LeBron, AD, but Frank Vogel. I'm not gonna lie, Frank Vogel has surprised me all year with
Yeah, I
his
don't think
defensive
people thought
schemes,
yeah.
and everything.
Yeah, I don't think people thought that it was going to work out so well. I think a lot of people criticized the Lakers hiring Frank Vogel at the start. Remember they tried to get
You
Ty
did, Mike.
Lue.
No, I'm playing.
Yeah, yeah, I was surprised, man. I thought they were going to get Ty Lue. And then of course it didn't work out with the contract, but yeah, Frank Vogel really surprised everybody, and they're 3 games away from a championship.
So would you say this year is probably one of the best years that the Lakers have like made it all the way to the finals and won a championship? Like where would you rank this one, Mike?
I don't know. I think it's
We
going to
can't
be
go
a
back
good
to the
run.
80s or the 70s because Mike, you wasn't born back there, but
I mean, I think it's a good run, but I don't think it's one of the best runs, to be honest. Because I mean, come on, they're playing in a bubble. There's no
I'm with you.
fans. You can't discredit it, but I mean, it's still not the same. I don't know. I don't know what you think, but it's a good run. It's they're going to celebrate it and all that, but I do think it's not the same with no fans in the arenas.
Mike, I think we were separated at birth because I'm totally with you. Because it feels different. Like when I started watching the first game, they tried to have some of the final stuff, finals on the court, the trophies. They were showing a lot of commercials. It seemed like the commercials is back up because
Yeah, it was
maybe add
pretty
more
long. Yeah.
advertisers since it's the finals. But it still kind of feels not the same. Definitely no fans. Even the Western Conference Final celebration, Eastern Conference Final celebration, when the teams that were on the court, it felt weird. But yeah, to me, it doesn't feel the same. I'm gonna be happy, but I will admit, I don't know if I'll be 100%, maybe up at the 75% range. But and I wouldn't care, Mike, if it was no fans, but if it was at the Staples Center or if it was at the American Airlines arena in Miami,
Yeah, maybe
then
make a difference. Yeah.
it would make a difference. But you mentioned this before a couple weeks ago. We in a ballroom, Mike. So
Yeah,
it's kind
I
of
mean, I don't know. I think if the Lakers win the championship this year, I think it's just extra motivation to go back next year and win it again. Because I think a
I
lot of
like
people
that
are
point.
gonna discredit this championship. And I think you just gotta go back out and win again next year and just confirm that they were the best in the NBA. I don't know what you think.
Do you think it's going to be a tough road? Like
Yeah,
how do you
next year
because
I think it's going to be a tough road because I think the Warriors are going to be back. They're going to have a high draft pick. Dallas is probably going to be a better team next year. And then of course Denver we know is now a top team. So I think those four teams are going to be at the top of the Western Conference next year.
the East, so let's just say if they do make the finals, the East, you got Brooklyn.
Yeah,
You- let's see what Milwaukee does.
Philadelphia.
Philadelphia. So, and then to your point about the West, though, uh, if we're back to have fans, like you mentioned, Portland, we know how loud them fans can be. And AD mentioned it before Game One. He said that with no fans, it does create a difference out there on the court.
Yeah.
Players don't get nervous. He mentioned referees. He mentioned the players. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Last week also, fans can make players nervous out there and miss shots. So we know how loud Portland fans can be. Denver. So you started hearing that crowd in your head. Start hearing the boo. After Davis mentioned the booing even at home, how that can get into your head. So if you're at home at Staples Center, we you know how we can boo a lot at Staples Center. So that could play a big factor if fans, hopefully, definitely will start in 2021. We'll be back. That could make a big difference for the Western Conference.
Yeah, I think that's going to make of course that will kind of make it a little bit normal because I do think that playing in the bubble it's just kind of it's like a March Madness kind of type
Just
tournament.
let it go.
Yeah, like
Just let
March
it go.
Madness and anybody can win and really the NBA's never really been that way if you think about it. It's always been kind of this is the first time ever that they've had to do this kind of format. So the results have been shocking for some teams. I don't know if the Clippers would have blown a 3-1 lead had they been at home against Denver. So that, and then of course, had we seen the Lakers and Clippers in a normal setting in the Staples Center, I think that would have been a very, very memorable playoff series, right?
I'm totally with you. That crowd would have been rocking in the Staples Center. To your Clipper Denver Nuggets point, Game 7 would have been at Clippers home.
Yeah,
Um, they always say, most of the time referees lean towards the home team for fouls called or whistles blown and whatnot. And I want to even bring it up right now with the NBA Finals to the fan standpoint. We can get your opinion on this. No disrespect to Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero is a good player,
yeah,
three-point shooter. He moves off one of the last people just at the NBA, kind of like a Reggie Miller, Richard Hamilton's who move without the ball. Klay Thompson still does it, of course. Can't wait to see him back next year. But other than that, Tyler Hero, I don't think he would have scored, was it 38 points in that deciding
yeah,
game
against
versus
the Boston Celtics.
Boston Celtics if it would have been in Boston.
No
Um,
way. Yeah.
Maybe even in Miami because the crowd would have probably been, he would get outside. So
Yeah, I think
yeah,
that's a good point. I think it would have
those
been,
role players are the
yeah,
ones.
I think that's a good point on Tyler Hero. He's a 19-year-old player, and I think he's overperformed here in this NBA bubble. But of
19 years
course,
old, like
19 years old rookie got drafted last year late in the first round. A great draft pick, one of the best I think that the Miami Heat have done in recent years, and it's put him pretty far. But still, this tonight we'll see what the Lakers do. I'm going to say they win in 4. I think the injuries are just too much. And it's just not going to be. I don't think Miami just has enough. I don't think they have enough in this series.
not enough firepower, not enough firepower, Mike.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm with you. Sweet. You think every game is gonna be a blowout? What you think? Close?
I think tonight will be a blowout. I think probably maybe Sunday will be close, but I mean I don't know. I think today it's gonna be similar to Wednesday. I just think it's the Lakers are obviously they want to finish out the series and as soon as possible. I think they want to go home too, right? The Lakers want to reunite with their families. I know there's some family members there, but I know they want to go home back to LA. They've been there for a long time, so I think they want to finish this out.
I think over 80 some days.
Yeah,
I
because
think
they
over
got
80
there
some
early
days.
July, so it's been 3 months. So it's pretty long time. And I think everybody wants to go home. I think Miami, if they're down 3-0, they also might kind of just step back there in Game 4 and lose too, because they want to get back home.
Yep, I'm with you. Lakers in 4.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I want to thank everybody for watching the Sports Roundup Show. This is our NBA segment. Head over to Instagram. We post on different sports. usually on Friday afternoon. So thanks for watching, everybody.